Cash. When was the last time you used it? The coronavirus pandemic and lockdown has meant that many people are using card or contactless more than notes and coins to pay for things. Research from Nationwide suggests that people have gone an average of 44 days without using any cash at all. So, is coronavirus turning us into a cashless society? And are we ready for it?
Without doubt, coronavirus has really accelerated our shift to being a cashless society. Now, it was a trend that was happening before the coronavirus. So if we go back a decade, more than 6 out of every 10 transactions were in cash. Just before the coronavirus hit, we were down to under a quarter. We don't know how much that's going to bounce back, but I suspect we've seen 2 or 3 years of that continued decline of cash happen in just a couple of months.
A recent survey by Link, which oversees the UK's cash machine network, seems to back that up, suggesting that 75% of people had used less cash during lockdown. But why?
There are a number of reasons why people have used cash less during coronavirus. One is a very simple one: we haven't left the house. So people haven't gone practically to an ATM and withdrawn cash. They haven't gone to shops to spend it. But the other big reason is that people have wanted to keep social distance. That's been the government guidelines. So people have switched to doing their shopping online. It's been actively encouraged by the government. People who have shielded have been encouraged to get people to do their shopping for them.
Shop owners are also encouraging customers to pay with card rather than cash during the pandemic.
I'm Hellen Stirling-Baker. My business is Small Stuff UK, and I sell eco-conscious children's lifestyle products, so toys, clothing, books, lots of different stuff for children aged newborn right up to about 6 years old. I have a bricks and mortar shop in Sheffield and Crooks High Street, and I have an online store as well. I think there was a couple of reasons that we decided not to take cash anymore. One of them was, I think, the perception for customers that are now coming out and wanting to shop with us. We want to make it as safe as possible, obviously, literally as safe as possible, but also the perception of not handling cash. So that there isn't too many sort of things transacting around the store. So people handing me cash for me to then hand them change for then. There's just too many things going on. But also for the sense as well that it's getting more and more difficult for us as a business that business banks online, for us to, once we have that cash, we just end up keeping it on site, and for us that's not safe either. So there were lots and lots of reasons why we've decided to do it, but primarily the reason is that it's the hygiene and the touching of cash, and whether that needs to be an additional extra thing at the moment when we're all trying to kind of survive on the high street anyway.
The Bank of England says that the risk in handling notes is no greater than touching any other common surface, such as handrails, doorknobs or credit cards. So, if more and more people and businesses are using less cash since the coronavirus lockdown started, are we ready to be a cashless society? According to consumer group Which, around 8 million people would struggle to get by without cash, while almost 2 million mostly use it for their day-to-day spending.
It tends to be people in older age groups, so the elderly are less likely to be tech savvy. They have relatively low trust in online banking. They still require access to cash machines and bank branches to carry out their banking and financial business.
There are 1.4 million people in the UK without a bank account. As we're understanding through some of the dialogue about education, there are households who haven't got internet connections and who can't afford smartphones or laptops. If you imagine someone who relies on friends or volunteers to do their shopping, they don't want to hand over a contactless card and potentially risk all their savings. So there are quite a lot of people who aren't ready and aren't able to use digital payments.
Okay, so some people aren't ready to go without cash just yet. But could they be helped to transition to digital payments?
If we need everybody to be able to use digital payments, we've actually got to take a leaf out of what was done in the book of the switch to digital TV and think about how do we support those people who aren't profitable, down to perhaps buying people internet connections and working to develop services for segments of the population who aren't inherently profitable.
Our position at Which is that we don't want to turn back the clock and get everybody going back to cash. What we want to do is ensure that people aren't left behind as we make this transition from a cash economy to a more digital economy. Our big ask, while we've been campaigning on this issue, is that the government introduces legislation to protect access to cash for as long as people need it.
The government says it is committed to legislation to protect access to cash for the most vulnerable. So even if everyone did go cashless, would the UK be able to cope?
So going fully cashless relies on us having a really strong digital infrastructure. Now, we can all think back to when Visa went down or some of the banks went down, and we've always got cash. Well, digital payment doesn't work when there's no power. And in Sweden, where they're the furthest towards a cashless society, they've had some quite serious debates in their parliament about what do we do when we're hacked by the Russians? Because to go truly cashless, you need a very strong, resilient digital infrastructure that we're quite a long way away from.
The coronavirus pandemic is accelerating the UK's move towards becoming a cashless society. But don't worry, you don't need to get rid of your notes and coins just yet.